Welcome, and this is Impact 2022, our continuing conversation where we talk about all of the different types of topics from race relations, from current events to just anything that may be going on. And so we come at it from different perspectives. And as we always do, we ask that you participate. This is a conversation. So if you have any comments or any questions, please feel free to type them into into the comments section, and we will address them as they pop up. And so as those know, today is Tuesday, November the 8th. It is election day. So hopefully everybody was able to go out and vote. And as we've been talking for the past couple of weeks, know that that is your voice. And not only your voice, that is the voice of the people who don't necessarily have a voice, those who cannot vote, whether they be because of legal situations, whether they be because of their age. You're voting not just for yourself, but you're voting for your family, your friends, and everybody else. So your voice is important because it's amplified. It's the voice of your community. And so let's just hop right into it. What we're going to talk about today is related to election. We always say, and what we've said here is that everyone should go out and vote. And when we talked about civil unrest, we talked about social justice, when we talked about change, we always said vote, vote, vote. But then the question comes in, what do I do? How do I know who to vote for? What should I vote for? I don't, if you've never voted, whether you're a young person who's a first-time voter, or older person who's a first-time voter, or somebody who just usually just voted down the line, the traditional line. If your parents were Republicans, you voted Republican, or if they were Democrats, you voted Democrats. But as a full functioning adult, what is the process that we should go through when it comes to voting? What is the criteria that we first think of? I know for myself, I look at the person and I say, are they intelligent? That's one of the things I say first before I go down the line. And so that's what we're tackling today, first amongst other things. But it's the voting issue. So we have Chris here. How you doing, Chris?
Doing well.
You encounter a lot of young people, and as someone who comes across young people, if they come to you and let's say in real life, they come to you, whether they be a student or one of your children, and they say, all right, I'm getting ready to vote. How do I know who to vote for? What do I do? What advice would you give them? What's the criteria? Where do you start at? How do you know?
Well, it's a hard decision to make. I'm someone that kind of keeps somewhat in tune with what's going on in the politics scene, and so I kind of have a decent idea of who I would support and who I wouldn't support. But if you're talking about a new voter, it really is you have to do a little digging and just kind of figure out exactly what you would expect somebody to do for you. If they, you want to put somebody in place that would act the way you would act. And so, and it's really hard, now because I've been following some of these campaigns and they get really nasty. So it's really hard to tell who would actually make a good decision for me because they're fighting each other more than they're actually talking about, what they would actually do. So I would tell somebody, just go with who you feel like represents you the best based on what you know.
Yeah, that's good. So you have people who they are called one position voters, or they have one position and that's it, and that's what they vote for. I think that is a bad way to go because then that makes you easily manipulated. And so if you only have one position that you really want to vote for, you can be easily manipulated. You have those big positions where it could be, your abortion rights or anti-abortion. It could be for the legalization of marijuana. It could be cutting taxes or raising taxes. If all you have is just one issue and you're looking for that candidate who will do that one issue, then you're blinded to all the other wonderful or terrible things that person can do. So if somebody comes in and they say, yeah, man, I'm a one position voter, man. If you don't do this one thing, then I'm done with you. How do you feel about that? Is that okay, or are you in my camp where I'm like, nah, you can't be tied to just one position because I think you'll be manipulated.
Yeah. Well, we got to be honest with what a politician is. They make decisions based on what they can get out of it. So they talk. Politicians are talkers. And so some politicians will say that they're one way, and then the moment that you vote for them, they choose something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of voters, especially young voters, probably think, yeah, this person is pro-right or pro-choice, and I know I'm going to support them. But then when it actually comes time to vote and actually put the work in, a lot of them don't really pay attention to whether they are voting on their behalf or not. So, and we just got to understand it's a game. Politics is a game. Who can get the most of their players in to the House to make the decisions? And once we start in our communities realizing that it's a game, and we start putting the right people in place, we can start seeing some major things happening to help, better our lives and better our communities.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. One of the things that I hear a lot is that you hear people say, don't vote against someone. You need to be voting for someone. However, I don't always prescribe to that. I'm the one who will sit back. I don't live in Georgia, but let's take Georgia, for example. You got Herschel Walker. You would have to be really, really bad for, a horrible human being. You'd have to come out here. You probably had to commit murder or do some other stuff for me to sit back and say, well, I'm going to be able to vote for Herschel Walker. I don't care who's on the other side for the most part. I'm voting against him. And I'm okay with that. But there's other people who say you don't just vote against somebody. You have to vote for the other person, like know who you're casting your vote for. I'll be straight up. Another one, Donald Trump. At this point, I don't care what he was running for. He could be running for, he could be running for the homeowners association or something like that in my area. There's no way I'm voting for you, and I don't care who's on the. It could be a Rock on the other side. Donald Trump versus the Rock. I'm voting for the Rock. And not the Rock, the famous person, but an actual Rock that doesn't move or talk or do anything.
I don't know. I might have to stop you on that one because I've been in a Trump hotel. It's pretty good. Well, he probably would be a very good president of your homeowners association.
It wouldn't be good, except for no people of color would probably be allowed in there based on his record. Well, but that's neither here nor there. But no, the concept of just voting against somebody. How do you feel about that? Like, what would be your advice again to somebody who is new to voting?
You can vote against somebody, but at the end of the day, you're really putting people in place to make decisions for you. So I try my best. Everybody I live in North Carolina. So, and the region that I live in, I've actually talked to and met the people that I voted for, for judge, and we elect judges here. So we voted for the judge. I know both of the candidates, and I know which one I'm not going to vote for. So, and I'm voting against him, but I'm also voting in support of the other judge as well. So I think if you vote against, it's not a bad thing, especially if you know what you're getting from that side. Like, we know what we're getting with Donald Trump. So it was a wise decision, I think, for people to vote against him. But and I don't like to tell people who to vote for because, there's some people that are very secretive about their vote. They don't want people to know. Well,
right.
It's none of your business who I voted for. So.
Right.
But I vote personally, for people that I respect their values, and I think that they would at least consider my ideas and my opinions when they actually do the job, when they get in there.
That's I like that. That I like. I can get on board with. Here's the other one, and this one was more me than other people. Um, so and when I'm voting, there's sometimes as a Christian man, I sit back here as a religious man. You sit back here and you say, um, well, it would be nice to vote for somebody who shares some values with me. But if a person comes up and they're saying, hey, I am, Christian values, and I'm going to vote Christian values, and I want to make sure that everybody else has to follow these same values. This is staunchly a Christian nation, blah, 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 blah. I say, no, thank you. Because that's not what you're there to do. You're there to allow everybody to have freedom of religion and from religion. And so if you're not having an open space where a Muslim can feel welcome, a Jewish person can feel welcome, somebody who doesn't choose to have a religion can feel welcome, Buddhist, whatever. If everybody can't feel welcome, if everybody doesn't have a certain level of freedom and rights, then I can't get on board with that. Each religion should be a choice. And so that's how I feel when it comes to voting. I know some other people are like, yeah, I'm gonna vote for this person because they, let's forget it. We're gonna beat up on Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker just keeps coming out here talking about how he's some kind of super Christian and he's gonna just do everything Christian values, blah, 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 blah. Not thinking that you have to represent other people as well. And so big no thank you on him. But there are people who feel differently, especially folk, folk who are in church and as well as I do, who will sit back and be like, no, you got to vote for the person who's going to put Christ in the center of everything because everybody should be worshiping, the same faith.
Everybody should be Jesus, yeah. Everybody should be Team Jesus. But I mean, I think true Christian values aren't represented by saying I'm going to only support Christian values. Like, I mean, Jesus was actually a very liberal-minded person. If you look at the story of Jesus, he accepted everybody. The most unacceptable people actually flocked to Jesus. That's why he gathered such a large, crowd when he was alive, and so many people followed him. And so for a lot of these conservative Christians that get in there say that I have Christian values, their values aren't Christian. Their values are American. They're American Christianity, which is not all the time based on, what the Bible says. And so somebody that gets in there and says, I have Christian values, are going to accept homosexuality. They're going to allow all people from all races to, they're going to fight for all of them to have the same rights. They're going to fight for equal access to education and healthcare. They're going to make sure that, everybody gets a fair shot at everything. That's Christian values. And so, but when you're trying to put a wall up and shut people off from coming into this country from the gate, you can't talk about Christian values with me because you're saying that's one of the first things that Jesus said, come to me, that's one of the first things he did. Just come with me. And the first thing you're saying is no, not you. You can't come in. So I can't support anybody that would push one agenda and not be open to anybody else's.
We got a comment. It says you may have to vote for someone who may not be all the way for you, but they are not against you. What do you think about that?
That's like every president that I voted for. Even and I'm saying this, kind of on eggshells because Obama was a great president and he was a black president. So, but at the same time, there's some things that Obama did, especially overseas and internationally, that I really didn't agree with, and a lot of the things that, he gets celebrated for being, the first black president, and he was a good president. I think he was good, but there's some things that, I didn't all the way agree with Obama on, so I think every president that I voted for, and I voted for 4 of them, 5 of them, they've been, there's always just been, well, you're the best of the 2, so I'm going with you.
Right. I've heard many jokes. It's the best out of 2 bad options.
Right.
You can be shot or you can be stabbed. Which one you want to pick? Like it's like that. We got another one. As I always say, we cannot legislate righteousness. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people are trying to do. They're trying to legislate righteousness. You look at the abortion issue. That's the big one that's out right now, and there's been a lot of little issues that's been going on with that. Because basically, more so than anything else, they're trying to legislate their view and their way of righteousness when it comes to that's a medical decision. And there's been some backlash on some medicines, cancer drugs.
Mm-hmm.
They've stopped giving to people because they were saying that they could cause an abortion. And so if you ended up getting pregnant while you were taking that drug, that would be an abortion and blah, 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 blah. So now you're getting into a really big, weird issue.
Man, just, I don't know. Why is everybody so concerned with what everybody else is doing?
Yeah.
I guess it's a lot of, you can't really make somebody do what you want them to do. And I think this is what it is. It's people trying to make people do something that they don't want them to do. Until they're in that situation and their granddaughter or their daughter is in the situation where, oh, well, we have to get this taken care of right away.
Right.
So, and I hate the fact that so many people are so concerned about what other people are doing with their bodies. I mean, drinking Coca-Cola causes diabetes. Are we going to go around and just do an anti-Coca-Cola campaign and just stop everybody from drinking Coca-Cola?
Right.
Am I going to go to the Coca-Cola factory in Atlanta and start throwing water bottles at them and attacking it? No, I'm not doing it. It doesn't matter to me. You drink whatever you want to drink.
Mm-hmm.
And so the issue bothers me, whether I'm not for or against it. It's not something that I have. I have a wife and I have 2 girls that I'm raising. So if my daughters say, this is my situation and I'm going to give them the best advice I can, but I can't make them decide either way. They're going to do what is best for them. And I'm going to support them either way. Right. It's not something that is at this point in our relationship. I can't stop you from doing anything. So I think, as a nation, we just need to just let it go. Worry about your own household and just keep it moving. Like, we spend too much energy. And I had a mentor, a colleague of mine, that said it's a weapon of mass distraction.
Yeah.
And so this is the one thing that they're going to get probably millions of voters on this one issue, but there's so many other things that are way more important. And so it's just playing around, with things that really don't make sense.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I've always said this. It has been used as a tool, specifically the abortion issue, but a lot of other issues. But we'll just get on that one. They're used as a tool to manipulate you.
Mm-hmm.
There is so many people. Some people I know, some people that I've seen, who because of abortion have been made to do crazy things. where you sit back and trying to trick people and lie and deceive. You would have never done that before, but in the name of abortion, I'll do that. Like what? So now you don't put down who you are, your morals, because of this one issue that the people are tricking you with and using you and manipulating you with. So anyway,
Crazy.
Another comment: Christianity is an alternative way to live life, not the only way to live life. Each of us have a God-given right
to decide for ourselves. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and each of us have a God-given right to go to hell. As you said. and
yes, we do have the right to go to hell. Yes, but we do have the right to go to hell. I never really thought about that. If I want to go to hell, I can go there.
Well, that's good. Good in a nutshell. One of the things we don't do, we always, and we've done it here, and we always say, go vote, go vote, go vote. But sometimes we lack, we lack giving the extra effort of saying, or giving the extra instruction of how do you prepare to vote? What do you need to think through and do in order to vote? Again, you turn 18, and I think that may be some of the things that and I've heard people say this. Some of the things that when you turn 18, you have the right to vote. And they're like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know nothing. I don't keep track of this. So I don't even know what to do. And so they don't vote. And at this point in time, I think it's more than any other point in time, because so many more people are voting, that it's important that, young people don't feel intimidated, or not even young people, just first-time voters or people who don't vote a lot don't feel intimidated, and understand that you can think through the process. What do you believe in? What do you want? And so I think this is helpful in that sense.
And really, it's about aligning yourself with people that would represent you fairly,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess in a perfect democracy, that's what the campaigns would be about. It wouldn't be about these, big, very emotional issues about, abortion and women's rights to choose and healthcare and things like that. It would be about things that really, really matter to you. And that's why I always tell people, the people that you can touch and talk to are the ones that you really need to vote for. So we get all fired up for these midterms and presidential elections, but really, you know what? Go vote for your school board. These are the people that are going to be out there that you can actually talk to and touch these people and say, look, this is what I don't like. This is going on in my child's school. I would like to see this happen. Talk to your council, your city councils, and your board of supervisors and your county commissioners. These are people that live in the same neighborhoods you live in, and they go to the same grocery stores. They drive on the same roads. These are people that you can really talk to and get your ideas out to. You can actually make a difference in supporting these people. Herschel Walker is not going to do anything for you, even if he does become a very good senator, which I don't think, because I'm looking at the numbers right now. Right now, he looked like he's getting, he's having a hard time right now. Right? He looked like he's having a hard time right now, but he's not going to be able, even if he is the greatest senator ever, he's not going to be able to do anything significant for you. So talk to your mayor, your city council members, your district attorney. These are people that you can talk to, and really just figure out what they're about. And if you know what they're about, and then you can make better decisions about who you actually give your support to and your votes to.
Yeah, that's a good. That's pretty good. I'll tell you real quick. I remember the last time I voted. No, it was during the 2020. I was walking.
You didn't vote this time? You didn't vote today?
No, not the last time I voted, but the last presidential vote. That's what I did vote this time. But the last presidential one, I was walking into the polls, and there was an older man, like he had to be in his 80s, if not more. And he just all he did was walk up to me. He was like, "You know what to do, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And just that little bit though made me feel great about what, in my district or my voting area. It made me feel good about that. That there's people out here who are gonna make sure that these young people kind of know what to do. And that's not a big story. It's not a lot, but just the fact that he's like, you know what to do, young fella. Like you know what to do. You know what time it is. Basically, letting you know if I don't know what time it is, I can talk to you because you're about to tell me.
Right. Right.
And I think that's our responsibility. It's not just to send them to the polls, but we need to all ask them. You know what to do, don't you? So that was real good. I'm not gonna let you get out of here without talking to you about some kind of little I don't know, you call it pop or whatever. I don't know, pop culture, whatever. It's been 5 years since the last Black Panther came out, and they had a commercial from McDonald's. Well, they got this commercial from McDonald's. I don't know if you've seen it, where they have all these little kids, all little black kids, and they got the McDonald's toys for the Black Panther toys, and they're talking about how it's important. These kids are like they understand it's important that they finally got a superhero that looks like themselves. And it's a nice commercial. I like it. But at this point, 5 years, is it still one? Are you going to go see the new movie? And then two, is it still as important? Because it was important last time to see Black Panther, for it to be a major thing, to have a black superhero, even though we had Blade. But it was a different ball game. Is it one? Are you going to see the movie? Two, is it still like important from a black standpoint to have that kind of representation? How do you feel about that?
Because me and my son just had this conversation. And so he said, we got to go out and support the black movies. And I was like, son, this isn't a black movie. It's a Marvel movie. And he said, and he was like, you're just trying to make something fun. So controversial. He shocked me when he said that, but I love Marvel movies in general. So Black Panther, the fact that it's a black superhero, I get all of that, and I get absorbed in it as well. But I think what we really need to start really considering is that Black Panther is a great story about a fictional place called Wakanda. But you know what? Till was a actual movement that we're not getting the same kind of, street buzz, and people aren't like, look, we got to go out there and support this movie. And so while I'm all into Marvel, I love it. As a people, when we talk about our movies and ours, we really need to consider our story. And Black Panther's story is not a story written by us.
Right.
It's written about us, but it's not. It's a Stan Lee story. And Stan Lee, he may have been down, but he wasn't black. But I think we need to, and Woman King, I don't know if you've seen that one. That movie didn't get the same buzz that Wakanda got. And it's about a legit, historically based group of warrior women. We're not talking about that. But everybody's Wakanda forever. Even my wife.
Yeah.
Not all you ain't gonna like me living in Wakanda.
Okay.
Well, that's good. That's good. I like. I'm glad y'all had that conversation. That's really good. And we got a comment. So black people are still running away from their blackness. Yeah. That makes sense. That does make sense. Well, cool. Well, our time is gone. I appreciate you joining us again. That was really good. Letting people know the important issues when it comes down to voting, and really liked your insight when it came to letting us know about Black Panther, man. I'll tell you, I don't know if I can see the movie, man. I'm a softie on it. Once Once the original Black Panther passed away, man, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't think I can do it, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
you gonna cry?
I may miss this one, man.
Yeah, you're gonna cry. This is a podcast, and you just did talk.
Well, all right. I appreciate everyone who's come out. As always, we thank you for the comments and everything that came in. And Thursdays as well, we're here 7:00 for Bible study for Thursday, and you can also join us each week at 10:00 here, same time. Well, 10:00 on Sundays for worship as well. And next week, same time, same place. Chris, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good one and good night.
Yeah.